Okay, so to do a first versus battle, yes, I am working on the Alex Mercer Venom one. Not playing a lot of video games, it's hard to do certain characters. So here we are going, fresh off of his victory against the Alpha, Kenny Omega, versus the big dog, Roman Reigns. Now, of course, you can tell there's a whole list of criteria here. So let's try to get right into this. Now, Kenny Omega has already said that he is, well, not one of, he is the best professional wrestler, period. And that no one in the E even comes close to him. Roman Reigns actually is one of the few people to, well, let's be honest. He is the E's developmental system. With the amount of work that he's been put into, he is everything that the E hopes that they can do when it comes to having a good, successful professional wrestler. Being that his background is almost entirely based upon what he has done in the E. So, let's get into this. Strength. Roman, he's the powerhouse of the Shield. He is a large, strong individual. Looking at the things that he's done to people the size of Big Show, Braun Strowman. He's mussing around people who are closer to the 400 or 500 pound mark. You don't see that near as much in New Japan. New Japan, they're a lot on the lighter side. And at the same time, Kenny Omega isn't really known for having a tremendous, we'll just say power game, for lack of better terminology. Speed. No problem giving the speed edge to Kenny Omega. Now, ironically, Roman Reigns, fast guy for his size. Kenny Omega, fast dude, period. So you can obviously tell that he's going to definitely have a tremendous speed advantage. This is almost going to be like when Roman Reigns took on AJ Styles. Styles had a speed advantage. Kenny Omega, similar body type, similar move set. So you can tell that he's going to have just a slight advantage when it comes to speed. Endurance. Now hear me on this one. Kenny Omega just finished having a half an hour long match with Jericho. Omega's matches are normally the 25, 30 minute, 40 minute long matches. And his matches have a tremendous amount of movement to them. So his matches are just going to be longer by nature. We don't see that as much from Roman Reigns. Again, this is also the E style. Roman is not going to have a lot of tremendously long matches. Where for Kenny Omega, they're going to let these guys go and get all of their moves in. So it's going to be more natural that Kenny Omega is going to have the ability to do a slightly longer match. Toughness, I'm giving that one to Roman Reigns. And most of this is for a couple reasons. One, he actually is wearing body armor. Yes, people make some joke about that, but he's taking a tremendous amount of abuse. Ironically, he almost has a bit of the Cena gene to him, where he takes an ungodly amount of abuse and keeps on coming back. Now, I put that more with toughness than endurance because he's taking abuse and he's just moving forward with it. So I do think as this match, in the early goings, it's going to be Kenny Omega using his speed to keep away from Roman. He's going to be hitting him, not really hurting him that much, but enough just to kind of hope that the match goes a little bit longer so Roman kind of gets tired out as the match progresses. Striking. I know that one's going to probably get some playing, but they both have basic punches and kicks. Then I had to think, we got the V-trigger, Superman punch, as well as the spear. Spear being Roman Reigns' finisher, it kind of makes sense, and I would give him a slight striking advantage. Even though, I'll be honest, while I was doing the mental gymnastics for this match, my first thought was, I would love to see, he's going for the Superman punch, and I could see Kenny Omega being able to time either a knee strike to the hand, as I picture either a V-trigger to the Superman punch hand, or a V-trigger to his face as he's going for Superman punch. Same thing with the spear. Probably can do it well. This Kenny, he could probably find a way to reverse a drive-by into a V-trigger. Grappling. Roman Reigns, his style, there's not really a lot of body slams or suplex. He uses a Samoan drop, but every Samoan uses a Samoan drop. I'm trying to think, have we seen a non-Samoan do a Samoan drop? For life, I've never seen a non-Samoan do a Samoan drop. But when we look at Kenny Omega, we do see slams. We do see a really good dragon suplex. So give me the edge in grappling. Submissions. This one, I've seen Kenny Omega at least work some basic holds in a match. Roman Reigns, that's really not his style, but then again, the E's face style is you don't do rest holds. If you're in the E and you're a heel, you do rest holds. If you're the face, your style's much more it's impactful. It's more about, I'm going to try to stuff my opponent for that sort of offense. I was like, I don't really recall me seeing Roman do, like body scissors or a bear hug. And you think he's a pretty good sized dude. Maybe if he were to do more things that work to the midsection on certain opponents, it might actually make certain matches a little bit more different. Maybe throw in some variety, but that's not his current style. High flying, no problem with that. It's going to be Kenny Omega. Over with the crowd. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. Roman sells merch. You're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, but he sucks. But you know what? If you go to a live event, a lot of Roman Reigns stuff. He's got kids who don't like John Cena. He's got some adults who don't like John Cena. And he's got a lot of women that dig him. A lot of women that dig him. Especially if he came when he did the fatherhood commercial. Women dig him. He's got that sort of look. The crowd actually pops for him. If you watch the majority of his matches, the crowd boos Roman Reigns. But dang, they're cheering by the end of that match. So now we're going to psychology. I'll back and forth this one a lot. Roman sells well. If you watch a Roman Reigns match, as the match progresses, you can tell that he is showing that, man, this match is hard. He sells I'm hurt. When someone works a body part out of him, he sells it, even after the match, when he's going up the ramp. He does a good job from the physical aspect of showing the damage that he's inflicting, damage that he is incurring. That having been said, I think Kenny Omega, you can tell he's got he's a fan of wrestling. Roman Reigns not as much, he kind of got into it later on, but you can tell that Omega gets it. Sure, people go, yeah, but he does the kiddie stuff. He does the kiddie stuff in front of the indie smart crowds because that's what they want. For an indie crowd, it's like, hey, you know what? You know that I know this is all, we're not really hurting each other. And then he plays into that. He really feeds into the crowd that way. When there's a match what he had with Jericho, that match told everything. That match told everything. And Omega has that ability to really draw you into a match beyond a physicality standpoint with the emotional standpoint. When I used to go to Ring of Honor, the hardest about when you finish a Ring of Honor match is you are emotionally drained. When I also talk about there's that energy you get from the crowd. Yes, it is that psycho-emotional energy. It is that you can tell that they're physically, it's hurting them. And they take that emotional energy from you to them. And you feel it. Good professional wrestling is almost an out-of-body experience. As amazing as it is for the person in the ring, the crowd gets so connected. You feel what they're going through. And it's those little moments, those little transitions. When sometimes kind of get lost from the E performers because they're performing to the guy in in the second bowl, where we do smaller shows, you're performing to the crowd that's right next to you, and you can get those moments, those little interplays, and it's something that the guys who can do it well can do it small and can do it big. And Omega is there. when it comes to the ring psychology. He's got it. He has it. And now mic work. Yes, Roman is 3 years away from suffering succotash. He has finally found his voice. Roman's best promos are short, succinct, and normally ends with him punching somebody in the face. That's a Roman Reigns promo. It once begins and ends with him saying, I say it with my fists in the ring. If you put these two guys with live mics in front of them, Kenny's going to make Roman look bad. And the best thing Roman can do for a promo, probably be like, okay, and then punch him in the face. Yes, if I write Roman Reigns promos, I'll write most of them where he kind of loses his footing, and then he punches the dude in the face. Go back when I said a really old Miz TV bit, where Miz is going on, and Roman just, bam! Just cold cocks him right in the mouth. And then drops mic and leaves. But that works for a small promo. When Roman Reigns was being carved up by John Cena, Roman Reigns should have just flipped the table and just laid him out. But that works for 1 or 2 bits, not for a long promo feud. So ironically, if Roman Reigns, currently the big dog, the alpha, were to take on Kenny Omega, I think Omega takes him. I think Omega's got a much more defined game. And I think that where he's at, since he has full creative control over his character, he is almost operating on a whole different level.